Guys, and welcome to the Natty Blueprint podcast. This is episode 49. We have a very, very special guest on today. A guest that has been asked for multiple times. Obviously my coach, Mr. AJ Morris. How are you doing, mate?
Oh, guys, thank you very much. Pleasure to be on. I'm glad that I've been requested. That's nice.
Awesome.
And 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 yeah, it's always good to do podcasts. Like especially at this time of the year, having a little bit more time on my hands coming out the contest season. It's just nice to touch base with people, have chats, and of course, people that listen can get a little bit of my insight and things. And I feel like it's a great way to get to know people as well. Like people will see you at shows and Denny and be able to relate to you guys because they just know you a little bit more. So yeah, I love a good podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Like pretty much since we started the podcast, it was like get AJ on, and I was like, right, he's in prep. Let's give him some time. Then obviously you had so many clients competing, and you're at Worlds and stuff. I was like, right, we'll give him some time to calm down, get at home, and then I'll sling him the message and ask. But no, it is good to have you on, mate. So we do appreciate it.
Definitely. I mean,
never a problem.
you're a busy guy, so we appreciate your time as well. So we love
No
that.
issues at all.
But how's things with you, mate? Any kind of updates on you? Anything going along?
Sure. So I mean, yeah, things are good. I must say, from a post-show standpoint, I didn't really feel like I was in a post-show phase because I went immediately into so many client shows, and then also went into the first run of promoting the NBW, which was intense. It was intense. It was honestly just the most robotic I've ever had to be in my entire life. Every day was just copy paste, do it again, do it again, do it again. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. I loved promoting the show more than I thought I would, which was great. I really, really enjoyed it. And I obviously want to keep doing it, hence why we've got dates for next year. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any dates. And I think the only thing that I didn't particularly love is the person that it made me in the gym. Because when I went to the gym, I would purposefully avoid any eye contact with anyone and avoid talking to anyone. And I'd already been a bit like that. You guys will know at the end of prep, you kind of just get a little bit introverted and you just want to get your session done. You're not being rude. You're just caring about your own process. And that is something that I always tell my clients, don't be afraid to just care about your own process. And if someone wants to have a chat, just I don't know, say no. It's difficult.
Avoid it,
it's difficult, but yeah, I just didn't really like that aspect, to be honest, and it's something that's now even affected me to this day, I think, because I go into the gym and I can see people are like not wanting to bother me, and like I even had Lawrence come up to me today, and he was like, "Am I all right to like say hi?" I was like, "Of course, man. Like it's no stress at all." And we had obviously I like to chat, and I know I like to chat, so. We had like a 10-minute chat before I was doing my hamstrings, which is cool. But when I was in that moment with all the athletes that I had on stage and then doing everything I needed to do to get the show ready, it just did not have the time to be able to stop and have a chat, which kind of sucked. And it made me think, I don't know, in the future, maybe I need a solution to that doesn't make me feel rude. Maybe it's like my own little, not something big, but a little unit where I can at least do some decent sessions, or even just training in a slightly different gym, and for that short period of time, 2-3 weeks. But yeah, other than that, I mean, got back from the Worlds. Training's now going really, really well, which is fantastic. I wouldn't say that it was bad whilst I was traveling. It was just different, it was different gyms. I'm a massive, massive fan of my logbook and my own sessions and my own numbers and have I beaten it for the body weight I'm at and all that shit that we all love. And I just feel a bit detached from that when I'm traveling because you just are on different piece of equipment. It's fun, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So, but got to see some great places. And I mean, if anyone wants a city recommendation for the US, San Diego all day. If you've not been, definitely go. It's so good. It's one of the best US cities. I'd probably rank it higher than New York, and I used to really, really rate New York. I'd definitely rank it a lot higher than LA because LA, unfortunately, is kind of, it used to be great. And then I think it's kind of, since COVID, honestly, I think it's probably just taken a little bit of a downturn. Not that we're here to discuss the downturn of US cities. I don't think that was the topic of discussion, but San Diego was so nice, so good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with things, and yeah, life is a little bit more chilled for a little bit now.
Nice.
It's good to hear.
You touched on, obviously, with prep, obviously first time you prep for a little while, and obviously it's probably
Yeah,
the busiest you've ever been in regards to probably clients and just business outside of clients.
definitely.
Given next time, do you think you mentioned like training in a different gym or something like that? Do you think there's anything you would do different from a business standpoint, or like managing like timelines? If you can kind of maybe avoid certain things, would you do that?
I honestly think exactly what I did was the best plan.
Yeah,
Competing earlier in the year, because I think competing in the back end of the year would have just been absolutely hellish.
yeah,
And I had even, friends that were also coaching a lot of people at that point. Clients are also coaching a lot of people at that point. And, yeah, I had a lot of discussions where I was like, fuck, I'm glad that I went when I only had like 3 or 4 athletes competing. Because it's very challenging, especially when you care a lot about your athletes and you kind of start to put them perhaps higher up that priority list than yourself, which is typical. Like, I like to see that happen when people do that, because it shows you care a lot about your business, and your business is your living, and competing is a side tangent to that. It's more of a hobby than it is your living. So yeah, I'm glad that I did that. And yeah, I wouldn't really change anything, to be honest. The only thing that I would change is that unfortunately so I went to the ANBF this year, that Austrian show. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I absolutely want to do that at some point. I've got to do that show. It's so cool. The promotion is amazing. And, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to ever step on like the NBW stage, because it's just a clash of too many things in my own head.
yeah,
And if I did well, everyone would say, you fucking promote the show, and it's all that bullshit. So I probably won't ever do that. As much as I want to compete in my own show, I probably won't. So I kind of thought, okay, like, what even is my next goal as a competitor? And I would definitely like to do that NBF show, even if I just do that one show. I just prep for it like it's the Olympia for me, and I just do that. I'd be quite happy with that, because it's an amazing show. Like I said, fantastic lighting and usually really good standards. Like, cracking the top 5 there, you have to be very good. So yeah, then that brings me to what would I change? I'd just honestly just get a coach, so that then I can completely detach myself from my own decision making, which honestly was messy as hell towards the back end. It was really challenging, because I play this battle of pushing my own body, trying to extract something more when maybe it's not making me better, extracting more because I love that process of suffering more. I always say to myself, do it right. And I did it really well for the first show, and I did exactly how I would prep a client. And then I heard a podcast with a judge on that said I'd like to see him a bit tighter, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm going to show you tighter. And then I just started to
no.
go all south. Yeah, definitely. So I can do it to an extent, but when I get told that, he could be a bit leaner, I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck? That's not feedback that I ever want to hear. I'd rather be told I'm way too small and I need to be leaner.
Yeah,
That's a horrible piece of feedback for me. So yeah, I just get a coach and be able to do that one show, because then I'm confident that even the challenge of the whatever, lower calories, energy, whatever, that's cool. I can manage that in a busy period. But trying to make my own decisions in a busy period, it's not going to happen. So I think that's the only thing that I'd change.
Yeah, that's a good point, because mate, I don't know how you would have done it, to be honest. Like, I was in my prep, you were like my saving grace in a way, because me trying to make my own decisions with having athletes on stage, I
Yeah,
went loopy at the end anyway, to be fair. So
everyone
it's
does.
one of those where I was like, all right, send my shots to AJ, delete them off my phone, and then I'll
Yeah,
deal with my lads, because I couldn't have done it. No way.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is very, very tough. Very tough. Do you think, who's like, if you was to go down that route? Because I knew you were kind of talking. Was it to Alberto before, when it was to
Sure.
do with the coaching? Is he the same person who's kind of on your radar for your next prep, or?
So I think with what I've learned more now versus then is that the value of having someone that can look at you in person is just so high. It really, really is. And, you know, the value of having a conversation with someone in person, the value of having someone in your own country, on your own time zone, is quite high in a lot of situations. It really is. As much as I work with a lot of international athletes with success, and I pride myself on being able to prep them to a high standard, I know that if I was able to see them once a month on the way down, I'd be able to do an even better job, being really honest. There's something different that you get by seeing someone in person, seeing their skin texture, you know, what areas are starting to flatten off, you know, asking them questions, you know, like every time you came up, we had a good chat and I unveiled something, or I looked at something and I was like, fuck me, we're on track, or, you know, we need to push a bit harder or whatever. So, that's something that I want. You know, as for who that would be, there's many amazing coaches, you know, to be honest. But I think, you know, I'm not going to say exactly who, because I don't really know exactly who, and I don't want to say someone and then not have them as coach, because that just sounds like being a dick. But there's so many great coaches in the UK. I'd probably just go for someone that I know and I have a decent friendship with, but I'm not super close with, so I can still have that authority figure as a coach. I wouldn't want to go, and it's difficult because I'm friends with pretty much almost everyone. And the other difficulty is I coach so many great coaches as well. So I don't want to cross that bridge where I'm like getting coached by someone that I'm coaching. It's just a nightmare. It's not going to work. But it would be someone that I have real good respect for, good results in with natural athletes, UK soil, so I can travel to them. That's the line that I'm going down. So it's like, oh, you know, people can start to play Guess Who with this, and
it does narrow it down quite a bit.
Yeah, guessing for the next 3 years or whatever. So, but yeah, I think there'll definitely be someone great out there that can do a fantastic job, and I'm excited, honestly, for that prospect, because I do think that there's elements that I make myself look worse than I could look, you know. So I'm excited of the prospect of having me look my, you know, or close to my absolute best. Obviously, there's always things that you'll learn at a prep and you'll think, oh, okay, like we'll both do that a little bit different next time. But I'm confident that with a critical eye throughout the process, and probably at the back end of the off season or a pre-prep or whatever, would certainly be an advantage at this stage of my career for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned next time. Obviously, excuse my naivety to it, but do you know when you're going to be prepping again, or have you got something in line?
Oh, honestly, I don't really know at the moment. I'm still in a pretty good position right now, you know. So I'm between 18 to 20 pounds up from the stage weight that I competed at this year. Obviously it looks a little bit funky in some areas just because it's body fat distribution, post-show, that kind of stuff. It's gotten a lot better I'd say honestly, the last 3 weeks from just being at home. But I kind of took a lot of shots whilst I was out traveling. I was like, oof, like this looks a bit funky, like body fat just sitting in like weird spots. And I personally despise the first 12 weeks. And I know me and Max have had lots of discussions about this, but I despise them because like, I don't like the fact that my legs look like really weirdly peeled and like dry, and then my upper body just looks like a melted candle, and I just hate it. I'd rather it be the other way around. I'd rather it be legs soften up and look thick and full, don't care. Upper body stays a little bit tighter and crisper, nice, looks good. But when it's the other way around, your abs just look like shit. And you're carrying a bit more around your hips. It's like, ugh, just horrible. And that's unfortunately just the physiological position we all push ourselves to. You know, when you go to that dugout condition, you get all the symptoms that come with it, namely low testosterone. And when you have low testosterone, your body fat partitioning and distribution is funky. It just does not look good. So that's kind of sorted itself out now. I've done many back-to-back preps. You know, I've done 14 and 15 when I was a teenager. I've done, the next one was 20 and 21. But I am not a fan of doing back-to-back preps when you've hit condition. The only reason I went again in 21 because I almost counted 20s prep as a mini cut. You know, I just got down to like okay condition, but it wasn't like my usual condition. So that's the only reason I went again. And then obviously I planned to go in 24, got hurt, had to rehab something. That was the reason I went in 25. And yeah, I there's many different thoughts in my head. One is like, you know, take a year, come back, see how you get on at the ANBF, see how you land up against some really cool guys that I don't know how long they're going to be on the circuit. You know, Ben Howard's mentioned going again soon, and I'd love to do another show with him. I don't know how long he's going to compete for again in the future. I'm also at a point where I'm more than aware that, yeah, I'll be making improvements, but I'm into the 30s. Improvements are going to come slower. My prime of natural bodybuilding will be in my late 30s and maybe even early 40s. Fingers crossed. Hopefully I don't get too fucking injured. Yeah, I love the process a lot. I really like competing. I'm not afraid to say that I genuinely really do like competing. It's not. I know that there's some bodybuilders that like the process and not bothered about getting on stage. I do really love the process, and I also really love getting on stage. I don't need to do it really for business anymore, which is a nice thing because my business was really good through 22, 23, 24 when I was off season. It didn't affect things really at all, which was nice. Not that you should ever do it for just business because you'll have a hard time. But yeah, so I think honestly we'll just see where the next year kind of takes us. See how my body's feeling. Probably going to do some bloods again in, I'd say maybe February or March. See how they are looking because the ones that I took. Funny enough, I took them 3 days out from the NBW. so,
But they were good.
so I was like, I said to Loz, and I was getting sick as well. I was so tired that everyone was getting sick at that point. So I was like, combination of still recovering from post show, still a little bit leaner than I am now, and getting a bit sick. So I was like, I said to the lady, I was like, if these are any decent, I'm going to be fucking surprised. And they were actually okay. You know, like some good things off those was that, you know, thyroid function and sort of metabolism, so to speak, had kind of fully recovered. So I was happy with where sort of like TSH was, where T3, T4 was. I was happy with my overall cholesterol, HDL, LDL, all that good stuff by taking good supplements. But yeah, testosterone was still sort of around about that sort of 10 nanomoles, which for me, typically in off seasons, I've sat like when I take regular off season blood work, I'm like 20, 23. So yeah, and I can still feel that it's not perfect. So it just takes a little bit of time. I've always said that the best way to kind of take blood work or save money, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, is like know your reference points. So take blood work when you feel completely normal in an off season, like long off season. Look at that, understand how that feels, and then compare that to everything else, basically. So you're recovering in a post show phase. How do you feel relative to that baseline where the bloods were good? Okay, less sex drive, you know, less hair growth, less aggression, less neural drive, less focus for work. All of those things, you're probably below that baseline, you know, so you'll take the bloods and you probably see what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So it's not often a surprise blood work, but it is definitely worth doing for a lot of athletes. You don't have to do it as frequent as an assisted guy or girl, but you know, in those sort of checkpoints, it's worth keeping tabs on. So yeah, we'll see, and I'll just go from there really.
Yeah, I guess like once you've taken a few rounds of bloods anyway, like you said, you got those reference points anyway, so there's not necessarily as much necessity to keep doing them because you kind of already know where you're at.
Yeah, unless you get some like wild symptoms out of nowhere, and then obviously you will, but like any normal human would do that. They'd be like, okay, I feel really fucking terrible. Let's go to the doctors, you know, so it's not a complex science, so to speak.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll probably get mine done in January and then I'm assuming they'll
Yeah,
probably be in a decent spot by then, because it would have been 3 or 4 months. So
you'd hope so. Yeah,
we hope so.
yeah, yeah. We'll
Definitely.
see.
One thing I want to talk about is pressure, because like one thing I found this year with having kind of a few guys compete around the same time as me, being a coach, kind of coming up in the ranks, so to speak, as well. I definitely found that my most enjoyable part of the season was probably when I did the Island show, just because I kind of kept it quiet, and it's just like a couple of days out, I announced it. Even though, for me, it's probably on a much smaller scale than someone like yourself. How did you deal with the pressure this year of obviously like you've got a whole brand now with NBW. You're competing in the early point of the year. Everyone was excited to kind of see what your improvements. How did you deal with that?
Oh, that's a good one, really. I think I really narrowed down my why a little bit more, and I sought for validation out of things that really meant a lot more to me than maybe, I don't know, maybe the way that I'd seeked for validation before in the past. Like, I think in 2020 especially, I sought a lot of validation from social. So I was posting every week physique updates and showing my physique on YouTube, and constantly found myself looking at how many likes I got, what the comments were saying, even looking at how many shares it's got, some shit like that, seeking for that validation. And I found that really built up just a kind of an unhealthy relationship with the process, and equally built more pressure. So obviously this time round, I shared no physique updates, and I sought for validation from just sharing hard work. Not again doing that to like get likes, but just because I wanted to share it, and also like trying to just lead from the front for my clients. That's actually really what I care about a lot when it comes to my process. Is I want to be a role model. I want to be someone that my athletes look up to. I want to be someone that can do whatever I tell a client to do and not have a problem telling them to do it because I've done it. All of those good kind of things. So I sought for a different kind of validation this time, and that helped me a lot, because by the time I got to the stage, I wasn't really, yeah, of course, I've got a winning mentality. I want to do very, very well, but I was already so happy with how I'd run the process, and the example that I'd led, and the hard work that I'd shared, that I knew the physique was just going to be like, people know I put in the work, so here it is, and hopefully it looks all right. So yeah, I much prefer that way. Not that I think sharing physique updates is a bad thing. It's just I think for me it just helped not to. Then I honestly would probably just do the same thing the next time around. I actually have less of a problem now about sharing the off-season ones, because there's no pressure. It's just like, this is what it's looking like at the moment. You probably see most of the difference anyway when you diet down and compete. So yeah, I think more so now when I share any off-seasons ones, it's more so just to show how I'm managing like post-show. And again, that's another one that I got to lead from the front with, because it's the post-show is not just, are you still training? It's like that's the easy part. It's, are you also adhering to all the things that I try and get my clients to, like a controlled rate of gain and all of those kind of things. So yeah, that's definitely what helped with me. But I'm not gonna lie, like I'm human. I put pressure on myself. I do feel some pressure from just people thinking that I should do well. I feel a bit of, most of the pressure is probably just from myself, really, though, because I'm a competitive guy, and I want to do well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's natural as well. Obviously, the longer you're in the game as well, the more your name gets out there. Whilst you did say it's mainly internal, that external probably leaks in at some point anyway, which probably then turns it into internal pressure. But yeah, like I think I was there at your first show anyway, like we watched you. How did you feel like immediately after stepping off stage? Like, was it like a relief, or was it like, oh, let's go again sort of thing, or probably maybe both?
It was an interesting one, that one, because I obviously hadn't been on stage for a long time, and I was also, man, like a year before that, I was in very bad spot, very fucking bad spot. To the point where I would take progress photos and look at them and get into floods of tears. Not gonna lie, guys. Like, be open and honest about it, because I just didn't see my physique getting better. I didn't see it, like, not in terms of like muscular improvements. I literally saw one side of my body start to atrophy, and it was fucked up, and it was so uncontrollable that I didn't know what to do, didn't know what it was, didn't know whether I was getting, like, I was really sick, I was unwell, or whatever. So obviously, I mean, for listeners that don't know, it ended up being that I had just basically a compressed nerve in like C7, C6. Not a surprise when you try and do 180 kilo for 20 back squat, the next day try and row 120 kilos, then 4 days after that try and Cybex hack 7 plates. Some nerve compression was probably occurring there. It doesn't take a smart person to work that out. So yeah, I ended up just getting hurt from that, and then it caught up to me during a period of very, very high stress as well. So I was trying to combine all these things, lifting like a monster, super heavy. That was the trigger. And then it was just in such a bad place in that time period, because I thought, like, I almost had to refigure out my identity. I was like, I'm just going to be a coach now. You know, I can't do what I want to do. I can't train properly. I can barely look at my own physique. It was affecting my relationship with Loz, because she'd just see me upset all the time, and she'd never see me like that. Like, you guys probably know me. Like, I'm really quite a positive guy, and I love life. I love everything about it. I love bodybuilding. I'm just happy. I'm very rarely upset. But I was upset all the time. I was like, I was just upset. I'm not going to use the word depressed, but I was just really upset all the time. So to come off stage and then see a physique that in a year ahead of that looked the way it looked, I was just kind of taken back by it, to be honest. I couldn't believe that I looked that decent and that good. I was still, like, in the days leading up to the show, almost having bad dreams that the one side that was affected is just going to look awful, and I was kidding myself that I looked good. But when I look back at the pictures, I'm like, nah, like, all that single arm shit that I did to get all the muscle back actually ended up working, because it actually ended up looking pretty balanced. And funnily enough, like, even like now, like, touch wood, the side that was affected is now stronger and more efficient actually than my other side, because I just worked my absolute arse off to get it back. You know, I did everything in my power to get it back, and I threw also a lot of money at treatments that maybe didn't even affect it, but I would just want to do everything. So yeah, it was a really good moment for sure. Sorry, I'm still here. My webcam just does this thing where it just lovely, like, turns off in the middle of podcasts. So yeah, that was great. And then I was also then got the pictures back, and when you get the pictures back, obviously you guys know it's like you just pick them apart.
Yeah.
I just couldn't be happy. So I was happy for like 30 seconds, and then immediately just went into ripping my physiques to shreds, zooming in on bits that had body fat on, and just all of these stupid things that we do that now I look back at them, I'm like, fuck, that was a nice look. Like, really cool look. Wish I'd just lost body fat slowly from that point. But no, I ripped into them and just thought that I should be a lot better and should be leaner. All of those usual things that we think about. But now looking back, I think my personal favorite look of the year was that first show, to be honest. In terms of the other ones, definitely I was a lot leaner. Definitely, it was like 5-6 pounds lighter at some of these shows, but I don't think it made me a better bodybuilder. You know, being honest, I think I do look better with a bit more body fat. You know, at this stage in my career, at least. Maybe as I gain more density and more maturity, I can get leaner without the same compromise. But, you know, the way that I looked at that show, whilst I was anteriorly tilting my pelvis, so shifting my hips back, I had really nice fullness to adductors, glutes, good fullness to the legs. Legs looked big. My legs looked small as fuck at the end, because I just I just chase
Pushed it a
one
little bit too
aspect,
much.
which
Yeah.
look nasty, especially when I'm on my own. You know, looks nasty on its own in a tucked glute picture like I posted the other day on Instagram, and I was proud of that because it hurt to get to that level. And you boys know what it's like to push to high levels of condition. It hurts to get to that level. But when you take that and then put it in all the other poses, front double, back double, etc., all the weaknesses that you created by getting to that
Wasn't
just
working.
get highlighted.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I heard on a podcast the other day, I mean, a prime example that we'll all know is Samson. You know, like Samson was Mr. Olympia with not many cuts and striations in his ass, you know. So you could be Mr. Olympia without crazy cuts, striations in your ass.
Yeah.
You can also be WNBF Pro overall champion in last year's Worlds. You know, Babacar, who's amazing, but he again is not one of those athletes that has that like genetically cross-striated glutes that just look ridiculous. So it's always a discussion on, you know, podcasts and stuff, but it is true. There's a balancing act for all athletes. There'll be a point of diminishing returns. A great coach, and this is why I'm excited to have a coach in the future, a great coach should be able to try and find that balance, at least for one show of the season, and then you might full send it and be like, right, let's just see what happens if we go a little bit further here, and we might end up not being happy with it, but let's go, let's see what happens. And then a really good coach should be able to then, over multiple years of competing or taking an athlete to a stage, knowing from the past perhaps the mistakes made and not make the same ones twice.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to, is probably for the rest of my... I'd like to say that with the coach selection as well, I'd like to say that the one that I pick, I will just stay with for like the rest of my natural bodybuilding career, because I'll want to make mistakes with that person.
Yeah.
I'll be totally fine if the first one doesn't go so well, and I'll be accepting, because I know as a coach, like we might not nail it. If we do, great. If we don't, cool. We've learned from it. Let's go into the next one with a few tweaks and just stay with them until I stop competing. I think that is the best way, unless your coach completely fucks it up, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you do choose this coach, do you think it's going to be a bit more of like a collaborative effort, or are you going to kind of like, I'm taking back here? Go on.
No, that's one thing I'm going to voice straight away.
Yep.
Don't allow me to collab, because
Okay.
I'm not a good collab. I need to be completely coachable.
Yep.
Completely coachable. One thing I will say is I think, you know, this is something obviously me and Max do anyway, is like, I'll want his input on training, but I'll probably still really voice the fact that I do know my body pretty well with training now in terms of what works and what probably doesn't. So I'd say that probably from a programming side, I'd probably just get my program written out on whatever sheets or whatever they use, just so that they know exactly what I'm doing, and I voice anything that changes. And I follow whatever they tell me if they ask me to reduce volume or do something in a peak. But I think training wise, I've never made stupid errors in a prep. I've always been pretty smart with training and always retained a good amount of muscle, even when I've been doing stupid stuff with the diet and steps and cardio, whatever. So as long as I've got the reins on those things, and I also really feel like a very important thing to do when you're being coached, and this is something that I just have to build the skill of and immediately try to get good at, is even though you know there's a lot of ways to do things, and you might be doing other things with your clients and it might be working well, I've just got to be completely all in on just listening to whatever the plan is and just following it. You know, even if I think, like I should be digging harder or the rate of loss should be higher, they've got the numbers, they've got the sheets, they do their job, I do mine, I just execute. So yeah, training side, probably a little bit more on my side, but the rest, no collaboration at all, just straight up, tell me what to do, off I go.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I thought it would have been the other way around.
Yeah. Training's my baby.
Obvious things, isn't it? Like, you know what you enjoy with training, and usually most of the time that's what works, right? Because that's what you give most effort in. So it's kind of like the same with us, right? Like, obviously I had that program and I was like, have a little look over it, and you were all fine with it. So it's like, oh, I'm going to crack on with that in my off season.
Exactly.
But anything else AJ says, I'm like, yeah, okay, go away and do that. That's how it goes. So
exactly. I think one thing on that as well is that I always try to recommend to my clients, even the newer ones, is that I encourage them to build their own level of intuition. I encourage them to explore a few things. I obviously a client I've worked with for the first week, I'm not going to say, oh, try an extra set, just no, of course we're going to have structure. But with my more educated clients, with ones that I know that can do it, I'm like, this is like a guide. Your training program is not a hemmed in fixed setup that you can't deviate from. It's a guide, and it's something that I want you to explore. I want you to explore, okay, today I feel fucking great. I'm going to do one more set of this exercise. I'm not going to go and do German volume training one day because I feel good. I'm going to do one more set, and I'm going to see whether it felt good, whether I got more stimulus, whether it felt just a bit trashy, it wasn't worth it, and also what things, work for them, so like, what rep ranges work well in what phases. Let's say I've got a low rep and a high rep in their program, but they're feeling like the high reps are just dying out and they've just naturally gravitated towards a couple of lower rep sets. Cool. Like, that's completely fine. It's an open template to not to just follow it blindly, but to learn more intuition. The best bodybuilders are so good at that. The best bodybuilders in the world can almost understand exactly what their body needs and when it needs it.
Yeah.
That's something you can't really do with the diet. I've seen bodybuilders of a high level do like some degree of intuition, and I've heard on podcasts I've heard some wacky shit on podcasts. I've heard some very high level athletes and coaches say that they can get themselves into like pretty close to stage condition with just hunger cues. And I'm like, fuck me, that's actually really impressive that someone could do that. I could probably closely do that, but I wouldn't want to, because I just think it's too also I would be scared of wasting time if I did it like that.
Yeah.
And I love structure. I love structure a lot. I can't go throughout a day and be like, oh, today I don't feel as hungry, so I'm gonna just whack the carbs out of this last meal and hope I sleep okay or something like that. Just throw me off completely. And I think the more that our community moves as a whole towards intuition and doing what feels best, I feel like sometimes we move into that because we want to try and make it easier rather than actually just sticking to what is kind of hard and uncomfortable, but it gives you the results. It's like this the phase of when everyone did super flexible macro tracking dieting to get into shape for shows. I mean, I did that. I was the guy topping oats with like bits of Reese's and shit. I've been there. And I know that it's not a better diet than following something of just mainly whole foods.
Yeah.
So, you want to avoid intuition to make things easy, but intuition to try to get to like a maximum level of recoverable volume with someone that can train really hard and wants to push themselves. That's a great example of intuition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if I tried to do that, it would become like the new standard. Like if I had a day where I was like, oh, I can push the carbs a little bit lower today, then the next day I'd be like, oh, well,
above that.
That's my new baseline diet.
Yeah. You just dig yourself into a hole at that point, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Most people would, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
most people would go south.
There's too many in my opinion, there's way too many variables at stake there for hunger specifically to be like, just going to base my food intake on how I feel. Like, I definitely couldn't do that. I probably wouldn't even get in shape.
Yeah. I mean, like, the cyclical thing as well is like, there's a lot more days that you feel ravenous in contest prep than there are days where it feels super easy, in my opinion, at least. And I think the thing of a stable diet, and this isn't even a sort of a discussion around refeeds, but a stable diet, a consistent macronutrient intake is often easier for a lot of people. I find that even refeeding, like, of course refeeds have their merit, and I do think that they're very useful in a lot of athletes, but I find refeeds for hunger signaling really challenging for a lot of people. Like the high and then back to the low, it's like you go to the low and fuck me, your body's like, where's all that food gone that you gave me over the last 2 days?
Yeah.
Yes, there's an element of diet fatigue that they shift. Yes, glycogen fuels performance, so we can end up having maybe some more productive sessions, and for some people, fantastic tools psychologically. But for some people, they can wreak havoc. And for some people, they've fed back to me, and they're like, I don't actually want to take these again if we can avoid them. I'd rather just diet on a higher baseline. I'm like, yep, cool, no problems. We'll just diet on a higher baseline and not run highs. Because yes, maybe there's something in cyclical dieting for, also down regulation and metabolism, things like that, but I don't think that it's drastically different to just running a slightly higher baseline over 7 days if calories are equated. So if it makes it easier for someone to adhere to, just run the higher baseline.
Yeah, because
that's one thing.
The overarching thing there is adherence. If it's messing with their adherence, change it. So
yeah, it's one thing I noticed this season is we didn't run a high day till till peak. That's when we started actually bringing food up, and I'd actually say my hunger was maybe in the best position this prep. Like I can't actually remember a time where I was like, God, this hunger is taking control of me. Like it was just like a normal kind of feeling. You get to a point where you start to feel a bit empty, but it never really got to a point where I was like, all right, this hunger is a bit like out of control now. And then when we started going through the peaking, obviously my shows were quite close together. It was when it was then back to the baseline diet, that's when I felt it the most. And it was kind of all right, hunger's kicking my ass a bit now,
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it feels with frequent refeeds, because I've done preps with frequent refeeds, and it feels very akin to that first week back after a linear load. It's like some of the days it's like a burning sensation in your stomach. It's like, man, like where the hell's this food gone? And some people kind of like that feeling because they're like, oh, I'm so hungry that I must be burning fat. Yeah, okay, you can think of it like that if you want to. But for most other people, it's just really inconvenient. It's inconvenient to feel that much more hunger, that much more hunger shift and hunger signaling shift. It's just much nicer to be at something that you've kind of adapted to. I think the body's also very clever, and when you're so routined, when you're eating the same meals at the same time every single day, you start to put in something different, and then you take it away. The body's very good at telling you, I would prefer that with that in,
Yeah.
Because that's taking me back to like a safe place, rather than the place you want to go, which is not a safe place for your body. So you have to kind of keep forcing it, battling it to get it down there.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Should we get on to some questions? Because
Yes.
I know you're a busy guy, and we'll get some quick fire questions done
Let's do it.
for the last 15 minutes.
Let's go.
Okay, James Linford has asked, what is AJ's favourite and least favourite thing about the industry?
Favorite is the people that you meet, the friends that you make, and the community it builds. I would not have, honestly, all of my friends are in bodybuilding pretty much, so I would be friendless. I would be friendless without bodybuilding. How sad is that? So yeah, it really does build some of the best friendships. The thing that I like the least now is probably the social media aspect, and the fact that just every single person has a voice. And I don't want to sound too harsh when I say that, because there's plenty of people with great voices out there. And but I think the younger generation coming up now are very clickbaity, rage baity with the content strategy, and it's just, for me, I sound like an old man now. Like I'm commenting on these younger people with the content, and I'm aware that I am also getting older. So my perspective is, I've seen social media now over the last over a decade, and I just spend less and less time on it, to be honest, boys. I really spend, if I was to show you my like minutes on Instagram per day, it would probably be about 15 to 30. I'm kind of at a level now where, especially after the season, I'm like post and ghost. If I've not got anything to post, I don't barely even go on the app. I'll just go on to reply to any DMs and share them on my story, and I just get off it, because otherwise I find myself aimlessly scrolling for maybe 30 or so, which I could have been spent doing something better, honestly. Yep. And then I'll find something that annoys me, and then I'll literally be rage baited. Literally, I'll be like, and Loz will hear me go, fuck that. And I'll just like throw my phone away on the floor and then put it on charge and then go to bed or whatever. So like, nah, it's like not worth my time.
It's best to avoid it if you know it.
Yeah, it is. So that's my kind of least favorite thing. I think it's changed a lot over the last sort of 5-6 years for sure.
Yeah.
Other than work, training, and F1, what does AJ do in his spare time, if he gets any?
Oh, well, when I did have spare time, I also did some sim racing, because I bought a sim rig like 2 years ago, and I love it so much. It's incredible. And the best thing about it is that you have to be so focused and I'm really competitive with it, so I race online. You have to be so focused, you just can't think about anything else. You can't think about the peak week for an athlete or this content that I've got to produce. You just can't think about anything. It's amazing. You get lost in that world for an hour or so. So I used to do that, but it has been gathering dust, unfortunately. It has really been gathering dust. I have not... It's one of those things where, you know, if you had an Xbox when you're younger or whatever, you turn it on after not using it for a month and it's got like 4 hours of updates. Mine's probably got 4 days worth of updates. I've not used it in over a year, which is so sad. But that's what I love to do during prep, because I didn't really have the attention span for it. Is it takes quite a lot of bandwidth to be able to focus on it, and I'd focus so much on my check-ins that I couldn't then go and focus on that as much, which again was a shame. So I instead just got into reading. So I've honestly read like 12 books this year. Nice. It's the most I've read in a long time, because I found it very therapeutic, and I'd just go on my rest days, grab a coffee after I finished my work, and I'd read like 50-60 pages a day of a book. Before you know it, you're through a book, in like seven rest days, 6 rest days. So I read some really good books. I read some sports psychology books. I read some autobiographies of people in sports I look up to, namely like in Formula One. I read all kinds of stuff. Not too many like crazy business books, because I just find them quite bullshit or boring, or like they're just saying shit that, it's like, this guy woke up early and did his work. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like I know that one already. That works. So I prefer books that are like, I read like The Score Takes Care of Itself, which is a fantastic book by an NFL coach. I read The Art of Winning by Bob Belichick. I read these things from great coaches, and just gives an insight into their life, how they coach their athletes, how they build teams. That's something I've really become invested in this year, is like how to build teams, because I don't just want to build the team with the coaching, but I also want to build the team that runs the NBW show. And it taught me a lot. By the time I got to the show, I had a lot of strategies in place to like manage people and how to speak to people, how to get them to do the things you want them to do. So super helpful. So yeah, I'd highly recommend reading to a friend.
Yes.
Jake Byers has asked, most genetically gifted athlete you've worked with, in your opinion. You don't have to say me, by the way.
You were the first one that came to my head, to be honest, mate. So, it's a tough one, man. I've worked with some blessed people. Seriously have.
Give us a first call out.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you a first call. I'll give you like maybe. I'll give you 3 that probably come first to my head right now, and I really am sorry if any of my clients that are expecting me to say them and I don't. You're all great. So, David Laditi.
Yeah.
who was in 2020. I think he also gets the award for the most uncapped potential because he chose to not continue to bodybuild after that prep. Absolutely fine. But he would have been bonkers if he kept going. He was so wild.
I saw him in person.
Yeah, and like like I worked with him for like 3 months after the show. I'd never seen someone grow so fast because I knew he was going to grow fast because I only worked with him for the prep and he was growing during the prep. So I was like, because he did this weird thing where his weight would literally stay the same for weeks, and I was just like, yeah, you're just getting leaner, man. Like you're literally, this is looking like an assisted athlete prep here because you're growing. Like his training was not the best before, so he made it a bit better, shit like that. But he was bonkers. Genetic potential to build muscle was just nightmarish. He's like a little Kai Green. Josh Kenyon has to be in there. Ridiculous genetics. He's like got black guy bubbliness with white guy peeled. And in person. The first time me and Loz saw him pose in like natural daylight in California when we went out for his show, we just sat there and laughed. We just pissed ourselves. It was hilarious that like the lat insertions are down into his hips. The glutes are just like, they were striated in completely natural daylight. And the best thing about him as well is that he just doesn't have a clue how good he is. So like even after that round of posing, he was like, so
What do you think?
do I look all right? You know, like I was like, bro.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, bro, it's gonna take a young Sean Clarida or something in the show to beat you, and he just obviously won by a mile. So yeah, him, and then to be honest, most recently, probably like Radu. Radu has unbelievable insertions. Yes, he does need some more quads, but his insertions are also his upper body actually in some ways does remind me, especially from the back, reminds me of Josh. Just because his lat insertions, again, are just so low. They're like tapered down into his hips, but he still has great X-frame. He's also got, I'm the most jealous of his off-season physique. Like how the guy gets down to like 78 kilos to compete but looks great at 106. Like,
Wow.
he's still got abs at 106, and it's like his upper body is just wildly muscular. The only thing again about Radu that I wish is that I just wish that he stayed on after the show and he didn't go up quite as far in body weight as he does, and just gives me a bit more time than 20 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, but we got it done. But I'm telling you, he's one of those guys that could be even better. Like he could be 25% better than he was this year if we had a bit more time. He knows that as well. So
Yeah.
There you go. There's your top three.
There's your top three. I was on the second call out, just so everyone knows.
you are, and it was close. It was a hotly contested call out. That
Yeah, I was close. I was battling for it. Got a lot of questions about have you and AJ known each other before coming coaching clients?
We met first at the UK DFBA Southern, didn't we?
Yeah. I used to spam his podcast, asking questions about team bodybuilding.
Oh, bless you, mate. TMR, Team Muscle Radio.
Yeah.
I saw a reg plate with that on the other day, and I was like, "That's a proper throwback. I should just buy that plate just for
nostalgia,
just for memories." Yeah. Yeah. So I think we met there, didn't we? When you were being coached by Rob, and that was your first prep.
Yeah.
You look good for that prep as well for your age. You look really solid. I think I remember telling you look good or something like that.
Yeah, I just needed more muscle and probably needs to be leaner as well.
I think you got probably close to as lean as you could maybe for the amount of muscle you got. I'm not sure. But that was... What was your placings that year when you first competed?
Second and third.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I mean, I placed better in the BNBF, which was strange really, because usually they kind of go with a little bit more size. But
Mm,
I had literally very little muscle at that point in time. But
yeah,
I think I just out conditioned a lot of the boys, and the boy who beat me was Bruno. And then I
remember that.
prepped him the following year, which was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
crazy story.
yeah. That's sick. That.
Um, what's your favourite moments of working together? Jesus,
God,
what's your
see,
favourite moment with working with me?
to be fair, mate, it's probably the condition you landed this year. Like that as a moment was just fucking awesome, and like you taking some pictures with your, videographer guy, and shooting some of them across, and me seeing them as well, like especially before like the Irish show, seeing some of those pictures, I was like, I even remember showing the ones that we took at Ultraflex to Loz like afterwards because she was like, "How does he look?" I was like, "Fucking really fucking good." And yeah, because obviously I was with Loz when we had that rough prep. So she was hoping that things would go much better, and so obviously so was I. Was praying that things would go better, and when they did, and they went as well as they did as well. Um, that's probably no, it's not a singular moment, but that's probably the most rewarding thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Is AJ an oats or a core man?
To be fair, I've been both definitely, and even like mixed together. I know, ludicrous. But I find the texture sometimes when you put them both together is a bit better than just having loads of one texture.
Yeah.
But yeah, during prep, I'd say probably more on the oat side, and then as I get into off season, I start to like mix the two a little bit more.
Yeah.
To be honest, a lot of these questions we've already answered. How's the GT3 RS?
Oh,
Roshan's asked.
that's a lovely question. It's very good. It's still even yesterday in the torrential wet rain, I did go out in it. I still do daily it. I had a very upsetting moment when I came back from America though because I'd not been in the UK for 8 weeks and the battery was flat. So I was a very upset boy when I went to unlock it and it didn't unlock because
No.
all I was thinking about on the flight home was I'd like to just get a drive in the car and I could not. So Loz got the wrath of of that, as you can imagine. She was just laughing at me because I was throwing my toys out of the pram.
No, yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm very blessed to got myself into a position to get that. How long I'll have it for, I don't know. I don't know. If we end up having a family in the future, it's not the most practical car. Literally zero luggage space for any activity at all. Loz can't really even come to the gym with me because my gym bag's on the passenger
No.
seat. So yeah, but I do love it.
Oh, cool. Right, we'll wrap it up there then. AJ, do you want to give yourself a little bit of a plug? I'm sure everyone knows where to find you, but
Sure,
it's the kind of thing to do on a podcast. So yeah,
indeed.
let everyone
I
know
will
where you
come
can
back.
find you.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Instagram's probably one of the best places, I guess. As much as I'm on there for 15 minutes a day, you might catch me at the right time. But yeah, AJ Morris underscore on there. YouTube, got all of my prep on there. I'm really happy with the job that I did because I'm not always great with YouTube, but it was a really cool prep to document for a lot of reasons. So I got the whole prep on there, stuff from Alex, my video guy, that was fun. And then obviously NBW as well. So if you're wanting to know more about natural bodybuilding, be a part of a community, maybe share your own progress or ask some questions and get the opinions of some high-level athletes and coaches and just generally a good community of people, go to naturalbbworldwide.com. And then if you're looking to compete next year, definitely check out the NBW International, which is the 16th, 17th, 18th of October, held in glorious Rotherham. Promise you there's a great gym and the venue's good. The city might not be the best in the UK, but we've got a good show, and that's what you're coming for. So, but yeah, details are out for that on the page on NBW's page, and then the entries will open on the 1st of January. Obviously, most of your listeners will probably be based in the UK, so the only thing that they need to do is just get UK FBA membership and then do one of the UK FBA shows in the year. You don't have to qualify, you just have to rock up and do the show. And then you can do the NBW and be up against some cool international competition. So that would be appreciated if anyone does come along or even spectate.
Nice.
Well, we'll be there, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'm definitely
Pleasure.
coming to it next year for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you think. Got some nice comments, but at the same time, I'm always looking for ways to improve it, so it should be even better than this past year.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you for coming on, my man.
Pleasure.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, everyone, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.